Brandon, you're so on time.
I try. How are you doing today, Nisha?
I'm good. How are you, Brandon?
Doing all right. Feels like me juggling day.
Is it a juggling day?
At least a meeting juggling day. I haven't mastered the
Oh,
real juggling, but meetings, yeah.
yeah, I don't think anyone's mastered that.
I noticed when I was going through all of the meeting notes for the working group, all the best days of keeping track of meeting minutes were days that you attended.
Ha 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 ha.
You did a good job keeping us on track and keeping us well documented.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that.
That's a compliment to you and a shame on everybody else.
I've been told my documentation skills are pretty good.
I definitely agree.
Happy to be of service whenever I can be of service. Do you want me to take notes today?
We have been bad without any official note taker for a long while. I think it shows that you haven't been around taking notes for a bit. we kind of keep track and say there are things going on, and
Well,
we update a little bit.
I suppose these things are recorded and posted. So
Yeah,
the thing about that is the thing about recordings is that you actually have to make time to. I mean, it takes more time to like sit and watch a recording because there's some ums and ahs in the middle and
yeah. You never
silence.
know which recording you want to watch either.
Yeah, that's true. The notes are like a really quick way of you figuring out whether you need to pay attention to a note or not.
Yep. So we didn't have an agenda today. I don't know if we want to go through and work PRs and other cleanup tasks. I'm sure Josh just wants to go out there and archive all the other stuff from the working group. I'm good with that as well.
Yeah, I just joined because I was wondering, because I missed last Thursday, what I missed and what's the story? Like, are
Yeah,
we trying to do stuff before we cut releases, or?
I don't think we specified exactly what's going to happen for cutting the 1.1 release. I know there's been a request over an image spec to say, hey, can you cut a 1.0.x release? And I would be good doing that. That's separate from what we're doing. They wanted to have a release from before we merged all our stuff, and we can easily go out and pull those over into the branch. So yeah, there is some repo maintenance due there from last week, because yeah, that recording didn't get posted. The decision was, okay, we're good merging this stuff, but we did have a punch list of things we wanted to finish up and add to this after the fact. And so people are saying, okay, we're comfortable hitting merge as long as we agree we're going to come back and fix some of these other things. So I think a bunch of that was Mike, and I don't see him here yet. He'll probably show up in 2 minutes now that I've called his name out in public. But yeah, we had a couple issues, one on image, one on distribution, to say here's some other things we want to do to clean these up and finish them up.
Here's a thought regarding taking notes. How about we do a status check today on open PRs or like things that need to get done or things that need to be completed?
Do we want to run through existing PRs, or do we want to go through the open task? And I think an open task is a pretty easy one to look at. So I'll do a quick share.
You want to record that in the HackMD?
Yeah, let me copy these.
Yeah, I
two
just put
over.
2 links, Misha, that I'm guessing he's.
Did you get the 940 and the other one? Or you put in the, let me get it in the me notes. So image spec was 940. And distribution spec was 337. And I'll do nice markdown formatting and all that good stuff. Apparently, if I ever do it without that, all my markdown linters yell at me. So let's see. Yeah, we had a few things, and I believe we even started on some of this. I need to go through and double check them, but yeah, we kind of agreed to merge with, let's see, updating the definitions to match distribution spec. Yeah, I believe that is actually already done. Cool thing about this, you can just click the buttons. Refers naming. So they were starting to get into, and this is kind of one of the reasons I wanted to jump in and see who showed up today. They were debating refers versus other names. And I feel like if we're going to rename any of these APIs and fields inside of the manifest, we should do that much earlier rather than later. So I want to make sure that one gets kind of a high priority. I don't know if we need to, but I know there's just been kind of back and forth, people saying, is that really the name you want to have? And so if we want to bike shed that, let's knock that out. I think the must language got merged already. So let me pull up the PRs over here. See how we merged in for this. Let's see, we added the spec empty. Actually, the must language, I think that was pulling in from Mike's comment. He said there was something for a must language in there, and I don't know which specifically he was talking about over on image spec. And then I tagged him on this one because I wasn't sure what he wanted on that either. So I think these last two are Mike. And then the naming is just kind of a general. There's been discussion on that going back and forth. So any questions on that I probably can't answer?
What was the feedback on refers field?
People just started bike shedding the names of things, saying, okay, well, if refers is difficult to understand, do we want to change it to subject or something else like that? And so they're going back and forth on different names of what they want to call it. And I don't know if we were at the point that we were saying, okay, we are going to change it, but there was a little bit of bike shedding going on over there.
Okay, yeah, I don't.
This may be my fault because I picked up a comment from Akihiro that said, sorry, that said that it's a confusing word. I get it. I kind of get it because English is not.
It's complicated.
English is not a lot of people's primary language.
Yeah. One thing we did do over here.
I think a noun. I think it would help for it to be noun, like subject, maybe actually. Or it would be like refers to.
That was kind of one of the comments, is should say refers to and stuff like that. I think we had. So this server and distribution spec, we started having items in there. I don't believe that one is merged in yet, which was the updates from this. We might actually do have a couple in there, so I could hit merge on this for everybody. Let's go with that. Refers, I call it refers field and refers list. So if we look at that, I just changed a little bit of stuff. They said to get rid of all the uppercase. That was where most of this change came from. But the refers specifically said, instead of saying refers and refers, say refers field and refers list. And that way it's kind of very clear. We're talking about the list that you get back from the API versus the field that's inside the manifest. So that was one of them. Go to there's chat messages I'm missing. Let me keep track of that. Okay, just the links.
Was the name reference, was that too provocative?
The term reference is overloaded already, specifically in this whole container ecosystem. We gotta look at the distribution. They call it a reference in distribution, and it's just, this is what it means to have like the tag for an image or something like that.
Got it.
That's their term for it already. And so if you ever say Docker run on something and it can't parse the string, it says invalid reference format, and it's because they're using that term over there.
So in total, attestations uses subject and predicate. So if you use those terms over here, and if you say like this object is, sorry, I'm mixing up grammatical terms now. This blob or manifest is the SBOM of this image that makes the referrers be a predicate. Not a subject.
I'd have to go through and think of all the linguistic logic there. I don't know one way or another off the top of my head.
This is the problem with naming, is that you need to understand English.
Well, I'm also trying to keep track of subject. You're saying is going to be the name of the thing, that is the field itself in the manifest. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so the subject is whatever the manifest is, and the predicate is whatever it is talking about.
Yeah, because where we've been using them so far in the API or in our spec changes is, one is the artifact. Trying not to use the word, and it's impossible not to use the word. So we've been saying, the artifact itself refers to the image, I'll say. So the signature refers to the image. The other half of it is that the image itself has a list of things that refer to it. And so the list syntax is, what's the API to get the list might be the complicated one there. Keeping track which is which.
I guess I can go through a thesaurus online and see what else can be a substitute for it. We have a list of names and then ask everyone, pick which one you like.
Yep.
Vote for which one you like.
Whatever we decide to change it to, though, I would say we want to solidify this choice sooner rather than later, just because I think code is starting to get written. Well, not think.
Yep,
I have started writing code against this, and so we want to get this solidified before we get too far down that path.
I had a question. I saw the digest and I approved it. So the table switching from reference to digest, could the refers API not be used against the tag anymore?
So,
or ever was it?
I don't think we ever planned on that in the meetings. So we kind of said, let's assume that it's always going to be a digest. We had left it in there, and I pulled it out because I think there was some question of whether or not we wanted to include the future possibilities in there.
It could be nice if, go ahead.
I think we're leaving it open as like a future possibility. The spec could be extended to do that, but we haven't gone down that path yet. So it's under consideration.
Yeah, it could save a request if you're given a reference that has like latest tag, and then you don't want to do anything with the image. You just want to see what points to it.
Yep. And so that's where we We didn't do that in the spec, but we had the language in there that said we may add that in the future, just so that people who were doing that on registries wouldn't freak out if they ever saw that down the road. But then that got pulled out for saying, let's make that a separate PR. And so once we decide, okay, we're good with this one crazy PR that changes everything, we can go back and consider that one line feed and that one line item change. Yeah. I remember when we were writing this, we decided, let's keep it to just digest to start with, because you can always start from there and extend it if you need to. You can get to the point you want to.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. So let's see. So yeah, we did that line item in there. The error code, realized we didn't have an error code if there was ever any parsing issue or something like that. We can't do a 404, so we need to have some other error code in there. So we got that in there. And let's see. That was a BBATS thing saying, make it a big bright note thing or something saying that we can have race conditions and data loss. Effects and effectors. Nisha's having fun with the thesaurus there. So yeah, we've got a PR for a bunch of it. I'm not sure some of the things, I don't want to speak for Mike when he's not here. He's got a few thoughts that I feel like are getting a little bit outside of what we were doing with the spec. So we can circle back to that when he's around. So yeah, all of this is sitting out there. We've got enough approves on it. Things like adding the extra return error code there of a 400. Most of it was just changing case on stuff, so that's why it's all over the place. They came back and said, don't make all the defined terms uppercase. So I just went through and changed those to lowercase. Vincent's, make sure there's a big shiny note thing over there, italic or something, so that people get attention to that. And let's see, I think that was most of this. So Josh, even though we changed that from ref to digest, hopefully you're okay with that.
Yeah, I'm still, oh, here's Mike. Yeah, I'm still in shock that things went in a way. So
just have to surprise them when not paying attention. Just hit merge.
Yeah, I'll take what I can get. I think, I don't know. I think that reference thing would be helpful, but
yeah,
it's good to start somewhere. So I'm not gonna push on that.
We haven't said no. We just said not to start with, but yeah, it's the flexibility is there if we need to add it later on. So cool. I remember seeing 2 approved, so this is good to be merged. And one of them's Mike, and he's here, so that's good. The other's you, Josh. Let's see, anybody else on this list? VBATs, other people didn't comment, but I don't think I was expecting them.
I don't. Just to make sure you're not saying Mike is here.
Mike. Yeah, I couldn't tell which one just because I just saw. Yeah, okay. Thanks. Didn't realize which.
I miss.
That's happened before.
Probably won't be the last time. One of you has to change. Change yourself.
I'll just have to come on video.
I actually tabbed over to see if I could see like the thumbnail to figure it out, but yeah. All right. So yeah, looking through this, good to merge, no complaints. I'll go ahead and hit this one up there. That way we get this all together. One last thing. So with that done, we've got a bunch of items that got knocked out. I'm going to leave these first 2 just in case you want to keep playing around with the names. Let's see. Define words, we cleared that one out. Registry should to must. We got questions on that one. In fact, Mike, was that you asking about the should to must, or was that the other Mike? I feel like somebody commented on that.
That was me.
Yeah. Okay, so we can still talk about that one a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
And let's see. Reference digest, we knocked that one out. Error code we got, and note we got. So we got a bunch of these done. So yeah, since you're here, Mike, let's talk about the stuff we pulled out that might be concerning. Because the big one was a should to must comment in there of, do we want to have, let's see, What was that line on? It's been a while since I looked at this. Do you remember off the top of the head we were saying was the should versus must?
It was in the push, I believe. It was after like.
Oh, I remember what this was. Let me find that language. Pushing a manifest.
Pushing manifests, yeah.
Yeah. Let me find that line. I remember it.
There's that. I think there's something that says the registry may enforce that like the layers must exist.
Yes, yes,
Or should.
yes.
And then there was a second sentence in that.
Apologies to everyone just watching me scroll around because that's the worst for videos.
I actually linked to it in the issue also that I opened.
You got a separate issue open?
Yeah.
Even easier. Perfect. From this, so registries may reject a manifest, all that good stuff. Let me just do manifest blob on there because that'll get us right to that point. As long as I can keep track of which tab is which. I wonder I couldn't find it. I'm used to seeing it in the spec where everything's separated by one line each. Registry should accept refers when it doesn't exist. This is the line we were talking about. So it's an open question of whether or not we want to change this line to a registry must accept a manifest with the refers field. That does not exist. Because the question becomes a few things. One is backward compatibility. Today we can already push a refers doesn't exist because the registry doesn't even know what a refers is. And so it's not even looking at that field. And so clients can push this, clients can push the index with the tag digest thing. And so we're able to do this today with the backward compatibility solution. So going from the backward compatible solution to the new forward solution in there, when registries do know how to work with this field, should they be allowed to then change their mind and say, well, you were able to push it before, but now you can't push it anymore. We upgrade to take away that feature. So that's one question, or one way to look at this. And the other way to look at it is that I've been looking at it as a complete manifest. And so if I'm pushing something to the registry and I'm copying stuff over, or I'm uploading a built image, I like to make it for myself when the image is first pushed, that when it's available to be pulled from a manifest, that everything I need to pull is there. And so today we're looking at that from blobs. So you've got every blob out there already. You can pull all the blobs, the config and everything, because you know all that is there before you pull that manifest. And so if we're going to add signatures, SBOMs, things like that, it feels useful to me to know that when that manifest is there, that all the other metadata around that image is also there. So that's the way I'm looking at it. But I want to leave it open to the rest of the room now that I've completely tilted the playing field and given my bias to everything. What other people think.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is a pretty good explanation. I think it's sort of this trade-off between do I make it as flexible as possible, which may open up the situation for some people to shoot themselves in the foot, or do we want to make it a little more strict and then maybe we give errors to folks a little sooner. I'm starting to come, like I'm starting to like be a little less I don't know, I'm a little less sure. than I was a week ago.
Because the comment you've got here is talking about you want to make sure that before someone uploads an artifact that, hey, the artifact extends already exists. And so you're looking at from a data consistency standpoint.
Yeah. One other scenario that came up, I think either in the working group or maybe during some of the pre-working group stuff, was folks wanting to be able to use repositories, like use one repository just for images that only their build server is allowed to push to, and then use a second repository for their signatures or SBOMs or artifacts. And this would also open up the door to that scenario.
I'll give you an even farther left field scenario, which is that a lot of people are looking for how they can track attestations, signatures, SBOMs, all the stuff on things that aren't container images. Things that aren't even up in an OCI registry, but they want to use the registry itself as a place to store all the metadata around that data. So if they build a binary, they get the digest for a binary, and then they just say, hey, go where there's OCI registry, give it that digest, and it'll tell you all the data you need to know. That's a little bit farther out left field, but it is a different direction some people are thinking of.
Yeah.
This is related. I think it's in the spec, but the new artifact manifest, is it valid to publish that without refers field?
Yes. So if somebody has like a Helm chart, they can push that up as a Helm chart that's standalone with a tag and isn't referring to another image.
Okay, that's awesome.
We used to just be an ice cream shop.
Look how far we've come. Okay, let me think about this in context of the non-image pointer thing. I can't formulate my thoughts, but give me a minute.
Nisha, are you capturing all the different ideas you're coming up with? I don't know, in like a me notes or over an issue somewhere? Because I see you throwing a lot of good ideas out there.
Oh, I am? Okay. Yeah, I can put it somewhere.
Yeah, capture it somewhere that doesn't disappear when the meeting goes away. Either over in, yeah, I'd say meeting
There's
notes.
meeting notes. I could capture it in the refers, that check mark in distribution. What is it? Was it in issue 337 that those check marks came in?
We had two of them, and one of them was over in the image spec. So this one we're talking about refers naming 940 over an image spec.
Okay, I will put it in
Drop
there.
a big comment down there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, not criticizing all the brainstorming. I just want to make sure it doesn't disappear when we finish the meeting up. Come with all the good ideas.
Yeah, thanks.
Cool. So we've knocked a bunch of these out. Mike, I think did I lose your tab here or here somewhere? So we got the two options here. What I was going to ask is, do we want to just open this up as like a quick vote thing? That way, we did so with votes before. Some people that weren't vocal on a meeting came around and came in with a vote after the fact, and so that might make this easier for people to look at this, think it over, and then make up their mind.
It's been highly effective for us. I mean, now in the specs, I would say that's a good idea. There's like so many things like this with the specs where people are like, I don't know, and there's just no movement. So
Yeah. Do you want me to
I'd be in support of it.
create
I would say
vote
retitle
comment?
this one. Yeah, retitle this one, call it a vote, and then put the two options down below, and we can go do our thumbs up.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Don't mind me just trying to find a long lost tab. It's somewhere around here. We had our to-do list of everything. I want to go back to that. Now outside of it. Let me go find that list. So yeah, figuring out the name and the should, those are the big ones. And then the other two or the other mic. And so I can't chat about those today. So I think that's the big stuff that we wanted to cover going forward. And so as long as we get some of Nisha's bullet points in there, we can also, let's see, where is it? This one. So if Nisha drops a comment, I don't know if you've already done it. I just need to hit refresh or you're still working on them. Yeah, to kind of go through and think about other names if we want to change names. But just make sure, oh, look at that. Even got a pretty table and everything. Connects, connectors, qualifiers. Thanks for that, Nisha.
I missed one.
Links versus linkers.
I didn't want to add that one. I thought that would be overloaded.
You're going to attribute versus attributes.
Yeah, attribute.
Yeah, and it'll be the deep thought of what's the big picture that we're trying to do here in terms of what does it mean to extend another field, extends and extenders.
I can come up with more of outside this meeting and just record it over there. Maybe turn that into a voting thing so we can send something out to the mailing list and say, here are some alternatives, pick one you like, we'll use that.
Speak now, forever hold your peace, because we need to get this thing solidified. Yeah, because I'm actually holding off on merging a bunch of stuff on my side to say that in my own code it's not experimental anymore, to make sure we've solidified this.
It's blocking implementers.
Yeah, it is. Well, kind of blocking me from saying it's not experimental. So that, I think, was the big stuff to knock out today. Anybody else have stuff that they wanted to, do we have any agenda items on here? Got Mike's comment in there. I think we made some good progress on some of these.
I guess one question about trying to turn this into a vote, do we change it to must or leave it the same? Or do we change it to must or do we change it to must not?
I wanted to change it to must.
I know you wanted to change it to must, but
yeah. Now you're throwing a third option out there.
Yeah. I was trying to remember from that discussion, was the concern that like should is just a little too wishy-washy, and or was like, I don't know, that second, I'm trying to figure out what to put for the second one. I'll just say leave the same.
Yeah, leave unchanged the registry should accept versus change it to say a registry must accept.
Okay.
So I think you're looking to keep it should so that you've got the option to say, actually, no, my registry is not going to allow you to do that.
Yeah. Well,
which is valid. No, I mean, we already do that now.
I reserve the right to change my mind.
Yeah, but we already do it today where it says a registry may reject a manifest if the blob doesn't exist. Well, just about every registry does that today. So just because it's may doesn't mean that everybody isn't going to do it.
Done.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So with that, unless people want to watch me go prune some old issues or something like that, I think that was all the big stuff we need to talk about. So last call for other conversations.
Should I send out that email of pick what you like, your first name?
Sure.
Okay.
And I would include the refers in that list too, just in case somebody's just like no change at all. It's fine
Yeah.
as well. Make
Yeah,
that a
got it.
fifth option.
Okay. So I'll send an email out once I finish looking for synonyms.
Yeah. Do some
Okay.
good brainstorming there.
Alrighty.
Awesome.
I'll talk to everyone later then. I'll see you next
All right.
week.
Yeah. Everybody have a great week. And for those in the US, have a nice holiday weekend.
Yes, happy Labor Day.
Take care,
Thanks.
everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.